Oh, it's live, pal.
Sorry.
We will ban you from the Summerfest.
Right here in the Silverdome.
Jeff Harvey.
And I have half the brain that you do.
Welcome to the Wrestle Hunks Podcast, a podcast where three hunks get together and discuss some of the very worst things you can find on the WWE Network, and the only podcast that won't no-sell the finish of your promotion's biggest pay-per-view. I'm your host, the Mordecai of Microphone, Brandon Marlow, and as always, I'm joined by the hunkiest hunk, Brody Price.
The following podcast is scheduled for 1 hour.
That's actually spot on.
He built me up
Finkel.
that whole week.
I can't believe he didn't do that last week when Finkel was all over the show.
Yeah, I know. I forgot to do it towards the end. We were running long, so I didn't want to cram it in. It needed space to breathe, I thought.
I don't disagree after hearing it. It definitely deserves the proper spotlight.
I had a week to prepare.
I'm also joined by the IMDb of wrestling, Nathan Marlow.
Yo, you're tripping, dog.
Is that your John Cena impersonating Vanilla Ice impression?
Yep.
That's spot on. You really nailed John Cena trying to be Vanilla Ice.
Thank you.
So this week, the Wrestle Hunks podcast is again brought to you by WWE Divas Desert Heat. The fans were such big fans of last week's ad read that they had to come back again and sponsor the podcast. And as always, our expert, Nathan Marlow, is going to tell you a little bit more about it.
WWE Divas Desert Heat is 90 minutes of sticky fun. See you all your favorite hunkettes in the heat-bearing hall. I can't wait to get sticky in the lingerie pillow fight.
April 15th, 2003. In stores now.
Well, April 15th, 2003, that would have been pretty close to Mania that year. Wrestling fans were in heaven.
It's just after your birthday.
Oh, should have asked for that for my birthday that year.
Yeah, little 7-year-old Brandon getting that for his birthday would have been funny.
It's like, yeah, I just want WWE Divas Desert Heat. Nah, it's fine. It's for kids. It's wrestling.
Yeah, I want to see this technical wrestling classic.
Yeah, there's barn burners on there. Dave Meltzer rated all the matches 5 stars.
Fuck. You probably would, pervert.
No, he hates the pervert stuff. He really hates Sable, hates all that shit.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. I hate Dave.
He hates the Iconics. He hates Peyton Royce.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit. Peyton Royce is great.
He's a scumbag.
Fucking Melter.
If he ever comes to Australia, he's going to get the shit beat out of him.
Yeah, by Nathan.
So this week, we are reviewing the 2002 Halloween episode of SmackDown, another episode of SmackDown, 2 weeks in a row, that makes it. This episode of SmackDown is famous for being the birth of John Cena's rapper gimmick. The 2002 Halloween episode of SmackDown was a convincing winner this week, winning the Twitter poll with 39% of the vote. The only real competition it faced was from Judgment Day 2003 on 27%, while Halloween Havoc 91 and 2000 took 15% and 19% of the vote, respectively. We didn't have as good a turnout this week on the poll, and I've given up on trying to figure out why some polls do better than the others. I've no idea at this point.
Yeah,
I mean, these weren't that interesting of choices, if I'm honest.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, well, we got in the Halloween spirit, damn it. We're not even from America. We're getting into that spirit.
We're not from here.
We're getting that heel heat, that's why.
So, we went from last week, we almost got 100 votes, and this week, it was just it was a struggle.
Yeah, no one gave a shit. I don't know why.
I guess no one wanted to see Halloween Havoc 91.
Fuck, we had barely any. I still fucking blew the lead.
Judgment Day was getting a lot of votes there at one stage. I thought, fuck, that's just going to come out of nowhere. It's the only non-Halloween option that's going to win.
Yeah, well, someone rigged it, I think. Someone wants me to lose every week. I don't know who it is. Second again. I can't believe this.
I think it's the all those people on wrestling Twitter. They're conspiring against you.
They all fucking hate me. I don't know why.
They know what you say behind their backs.
I'm the nicest person on wrestling Twitter.
Hey, I love wrestling Twitter. I just want us to have a greater and more interconnected and shared Twitter.
Yeah, post your favorite GIF of your favorite wrestler below.
Oh wow. So had either of you seen this episode of SmackDown before this week's podcast?
No,
Nope.
I hadn't.
Not a lick of it.
Yeah, I hadn't seen any of it.
Except for the Stephanie McMahon, Eric Bischoff thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think I'd ever seen
I've seen that as well.
in that. I hadn't seen the Cena bit, so yeah, I don't think I've seen anything from this episode before. I actually sat down and watched it today.
No, the Cena bit and the bit with Stephanie and Eric Bischoff I've seen, but that's about it.
Seen the important parts of the episode.
Yeah, just
Exactly
trim the
right.
fat,
So that takes us to the history, build-up, and background to this episode of SmackDown. It aired on October 31, 2002, and was the 167th episode of SmackDown. On this day in history, there was a few things going on. A federal grand jury in Houston, Texas, formally indicted former Enron Corp chief financial officer Andrew Fastow on 78 counts of wire fraud, money laundering, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice related to the collapse of his ex-employer.
Oh, you mean the Enron ride?
When I saw that, that's the first thing that I thought of. That's the only frame of reference I have for this. Yeah, I assume, that's all I need to know about it is that Simpsons made a joke. I don't know about wire fraud or money laundering. Nat will enjoy this, though. Lionel Poliani or something, a French baker and entrepreneur, dies at 57.
Oh, that's a fucking tragedy.
I love Lionel Richie.
You know what's some bullshit? Old mate, French baker, entrepreneur, never got to see La Resistance.
Fuck.
Now I'm really upset. Why'd you say that? Everyone should enjoy the great French tag team.
The French tickler. We've also got Mikhail Stasinopoulos, a Greek politician and the first president of Greece, dying at 99. We also have Ralph Vallone, an Italian actor, dying on this day. So, all
sure
the
wasn't born?
No, I think that's just saying when he was born then. But I think he died. Okay. I don't know if they know how old he was. Raph was very secretive, You have to keep his life private.
Classic Raph.
Oh, Raph at least got to see the FBI.
That's what we want.
So, more importantly, the number one song on the charts was Dilemma by Nelly, featuring Kelly Rowland, and the number one movie at the box office was The Santa Claus 2. Really?
Oh,
the Santa Claus 2 really getting out there early for the Christmas season. It's fucking the end of October and they're already releasing Christmas movies.
What's the Santa Claus?
That's the one with Tim Allen, isn't it?
Tim Allen, wow. I was thinking that. Okay, I didn't know there was a second one, so good for him.
Convicted drug dealer Tim Allen.
If it's not him making that sound at the start of Home Improvement, I don't want to hear about it, to be honest.
I'm sure he made it at some point in that movie. Jesus Christ, the first Santa Claus came out in 1994. This was almost 10 years in the making.
Fuck, what a build-up.
That's like McMahon versus Hogan at WrestleMania.
It's the exact same thing, I would have thought.
So this show was held in the Van Andel Arena in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It did a 3.3 in the ratings, this show. It's definitely not a bad rating for SmackDown, but it was down from the 3.7 they did the week earlier, and next week this show would bounce back to a 3.6. And I'm going out on a limb here, but I'm pretty sure that the rating here dropped because kids were out trick-or-treating.
Yeah,
That's
people are
pretty
busy.
safe to say.
Yeah, they're all busy on Halloween night, probably.
Yeah,
I'm not American, but I assume.
I feel like that would be why, because it did a 3.7 and basically bounced back to a 3.6 after Halloween. So, I mean, I think it's good that the kids were out of the house and not watching this because they would have had to see the trick or treat match. They got to shield their eyes from that.
No, that was a classic. Wrestling classic, that one.
Look, I don't want to spoil my thoughts on it, but it was better than I was expecting.
Oh, I thought it was 5 stars, at least, at the very least.
Exactly right.
Yeah, right.
5 sticky stars.
The network got a little bit sticky for you when you saw that match come on.
Whoops.
Guilty.
This was SmackDown's lowest rating since September 5. It actually been doing some pretty decent numbers around this time, so the 3.3 was actually down for them, but if that was 2018, it would be better than what Raw does, so you couldn't be too unhappy with it. John Cena had made his debut on the main roster on the June 27, 2002 episode of SmackDown, famously having a match with Kurt Angle. Before that, Cena had been working in OVW and had done sporadic dark matches on Sunday Night Heat and Jacked. Cena would wrestle pretty consistently on SmackDown after his debut and eventually formed a tag team with Billy Kidman, which is where his career really kind of started to take off. Cena and Kidman would lose in the first round of a tag team championship tournament, resulting in Cena turning heel the next week on SmackDown, and 3 weeks later his career would hit a defining moment with this Halloween episode of SmackDown. Around this time we also had the No Mercy pay-per-view, which was held on October 20. That card saw Chris Jericho and Christian defeating Booker T and Goldust to retain the World Tag Team titles, Tori Wilson defeating Dawn Marie in 4 minutes and 40 seconds in a match that Meltzer gave a negative half star. I feel like if Pricey was the one doing those ratings, it would probably be 5.
Infinite stars.
Break the scale, give it 7 stars.
Better than Omega and Okada, for sure.
Could you imagine Tori Wilson and Dawn Marie in the Tokyo Dome? Imagine how good that would be.
Jesus. I'd run out of stars.
You'd be in the crowd going, Tori! We also had RVD defeating Ric Flair, Jamie Noble retaining the Cruiserweight title over Tajiri, Triple H defeating Kane in a match that was for the World Heavyweight Championship and the Intercontinental Championship. Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle defeated Edge and Rey Mysterio to win the Tag Team Championships on SmackDown. Trish Stratus retained her Women's Championship against Victoria, and in the main event, Brock Lesnar retained his WWE Championship in a Hell in a Cell match with The Undertaker. So I want to ask you boys, before we get into the actual show here, do either of you remember seeing Cena wrestle at all before he got this rap gimmick? Because it's actually not that long between him actually debuting and then getting this gimmick.
No, I started watching after this, but I went back and watched some matches. I remember his first pay-per-view match was against Jericho. I don't remember exactly what pay-per-view it was, but I remember going back and watching that. It's just weird to see him in tights compared to the jorts that he wears.
It looks so wrong.
Yeah, it does. But apart from that, I never really watched any of his stuff because I wasn't watching at that point.
What about you, Nat?
No, I've only just seen his debut. I haven't seen anything else. Can't help you out there.
I think before today, where I sat down and watched this, the earliest thing I'd seen from Cena was playing the Daniel Bryan showcase mode and playing through his match with Daniel Bryan on Velocity. That's the earliest experience I had with him. He's wearing a nice pair of yellow pants there. I actually like it.
Yeah, that was a bit weird as well.
And you also, because of that, you get the Velocity Arena in 2K19, which I can't argue with. You know, Velocity is probably the GOAT C show.
Yeah, that'll get a workout, that arena.
I'm going to go into my universe mode and make everybody's weekly show arena Velocity Arena.
Oh, of course. You'd be crazy not to.
So that takes us to the actual episode here and everybody's favourite segment here on Wrestle Hunks, the number of dead people on this show. By my count this week, it was 5.
I reckon I've got at least 4. Eddie, Benoit, Mae Young, Fabulous Moolah. That's all right so far, isn't it?
That's all correct.
I was trying to think of another one. Is it going to be another obvious one? Have I missed one that's really simple?
I'm trying to find it right now. I swear it's 5. I've forgotten again like I did last week. I need to start writing these down.
Yeah. I really don't remember. Because there's probably someone... I mean, does Tori Wilson's dad count?
No, I thought about looking up to see if Tori Wilson's dad was dead, but I was like, fuck it, he's just a random dude, so...
Because I feel like it's going to be someone backstage and like during the Halloween party. And
It probably is because there's so many people backstage. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I swear there was 5.
We've probably.
Maybe there's 4.
Brother Love.
His gimmick's dead, and his WWE career's dead. But unfortunately, Bruce Pritchard is still alive. So the show kicks off with the SmackDown Halloween party. All the wrestlers are dressed up, including Farouk as a pimp, which I appreciated. Eddie Guerrero is dressed as Zorro, and he's saying that he's going to carve his initials into Kurt Angle tonight. We then see Tajiri and Shannon Moore chatting. I'm just assuming Shannon Moore loves to chat with all of the Asian people based on his eventual tag team with Jimmy Wang Yang. They are eventually interrupted by the general manager of SmackDown, Stephanie McMahon, whose boobs are desperately trying to escape from her witch costume. She then announces that in the main event tonight, Rey Mysterio will be facing Brock Lesnar. And based on Stephanie's wording, I'm pretty sure this match is made in kayfabe purely because Rey is wearing a mask. So that's usually how I book my my shows.
You got to give it a Halloween theme, you know.
Exactly.
Hey, at least she's willing to push the the smaller guys.
I don't know what you're talking about. I want to watch the Shield versus Strowman, McIntyre, and Ziggler one more time on Raw.
Oh fuck, man! If I have to watch that match one more time, I'm gonna cancel my network subscription.
Ooh, you wouldn't do it?
I watched Raw this week, and I skipped the entire main event because I couldn't have given less of a shit about it.
We saw it live, man. Saw it the first time.
We got the best one.
Yeah.
So after this, we get the intro theme, and they then advertise the Trick or Treat match later tonight between Tori Wilson and Dawn Marie, as well as Kurt Angle taking on Eddie Guerrero. This leads us to our first match of the night, which is Edge defeating Chris Benoit via pinfall in 12 minutes and 21 seconds. And Meltzer actually rated this match. He gave it 3 3/4 stars. Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle are tag team champions at the moment, and Edge and Rey Mysterio are the number 1 contenders for the titles. Cole also mentions on commentary here that the WWE had signed Scott Steiner, and they tease that there's going to be more updates for some reason throughout the night. As for the match, Benoit works the left arm of Edge for much of it. Benoit attempts the diving headbutt, but he misses. Edge hits a flapjack, then goes for a spear, but misses. Benoit locks in a crippler crossface, and Edge grabs the referee while he's trying to escape. While Brian Hebner is distracted, Kurt Angle runs down and pulls Benoit out of the ring. Edge then nails him with a baseball slide while they're arguing, and he hits a crossbody that hits Angle, but Benoit dodges. They go back in the ring, Edge hits a spear and gets the win. What did you boys think of this match?
Pretty solid opener. I had here after that finish, I was pretty certain that Benoit was going to get involved. Benoit was going to get involved in Kurt Angle's match later that night.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Little tit for tat. One of the notes here I have though is the shirt. Did you guys notice the shirt Edge was wearing to the ring?
I didn't. I took notice of it, but I couldn't see. There's something written on it that I couldn't make out, so I was just like, whatever.
I just think it's the shit, and I know we talk about the shirts now pretty average, but apart from those few iconic shirts like Austin and NWO, have WWE ever made any good shirts? Do you think?
Lucha House Party.
I feel like they go through periods where they make heaps of good shirts, and then they go through periods where they're all the shits. At the moment, all their shirts are the shits.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
That Adam Cole one, that render looked terrible.
I didn't think it looked too bad.
It probably looked good in person, but just the image looks shit.
Oh, I sent that to you guys just because I'm going to buy it because it's Adam Cole. I wasn't,
I actually rate that shirt. I like it.
They could put anything on a shirt and say it's Adam Cole's, and I'd probably buy it.
To be honest, the best shirt that the WWE has at the moment is the B Team shirt.
It really is. That's kind of sad as well.
And that started off with them just getting the Sharpies out and writing B on a white shirt, so that's kind of sad.
Just keep it simple.
I'm sure it'll come back around eventually, and we'll get a decent design.
Oh, let's hope so.
So Nat, what did you think of the match here?
I had that it was very good. It didn't deserve to be on SmackDown.
Yeah, I wrote that here as well. I was like, it's a good match to kick off any show, let alone just a SmackDown. Like, this could have been a pay-per-view opener.
Yeah, exactly. Pay-per-view opener. I don't have much more, but I just think it was really good. It advanced the story. It was a good match. Had everything you wanted, really.
Couple of broken neck boys.
Exactly right.
Yeah, there was a lot of broken neck guys on SmackDown around this time.
Yeah, they had a club. Had a broken neck, you had to go to SmackDown. That was a thing.
That's not the worst thing at this time in the WWE to go to SmackDown.
The tights that Edge wore at this time, I feel like that's the kind of thing I would make my creator wrestler wear. When
you're starting off and you only have a certain amount of options.
Yeah, I mean, just give me those tights with all the things on the side. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
Hey, they're not the worst, and he's coming out wearing his speed dealers to the ring.
Yeah, of course, you had to.
Just dealing so much speed out there. Personally, I thought this was a really good match. I thought Edge and Benoit have really good chemistry, and they're both like really smooth in the ring here. They transition from like each spot that they do pretty seamlessly. And just as a more like broader note on like SmackDown in general at this time, I thought the SmackDown 6 era, as it's known, really did produce like some of the best weekly television matches. Like for Meltzer to be rating a TV match in the WWE in 2002, like it's got to be something decent. So I think that's more proof of like how good the quality was at the time with Heyman in charge of everything over there. I also wanted to shout out Edge's Rob Zombie theme that he has here.
Yeah, a little bit of a
I thought it sucked.
You thought it sucked? I reckon it's
compared
better
to his other song.
Nah, it's better than his iconic one. Fuck you, man. It's a good theme.
Okay.
Do you remember when he came out with it because Rob Zombie was hosting Raw in the guest host era, and then he sang it for him?
I don't remember this. Why do you remember this?
Why not? I remember everything about the guest host era. Remember when the Three Stooges hosted? The fucking Muppets hosted.
That. Jesus. What a sad time that was.
It was so bad. I hated wrestling so much in that era. Also, shout out to the Edge being on the cover of WWE Magazine. I don't know if they still do that, but if they don't,
I don't think they do.
We used to get so many WWE magazines.
Yeah, like 4.
Hey, 4 is more than most people probably bought.
It's true.
We also had a SmackDown magazine when they brand split the fucking magazine.
Make more money.
Hey, smart. Strike while the iron's hot.
One has to have a poster of Tori. The other one has to have a poster of Trish.
Nah, Stacey.
Okay.
I remember they actually advertised the first SmackDown vs. Raw game that exact way. They had Tori in blue on one side and they had Stacey in red on the other.
Yeah, my copy was a little sticky, boys.
So before we move on here, I just have to ask, how many times have the WWE used this fucking exact same, like, reluctant tag team partners story?
Go back to the well.
Like, that's basically their go-to when they've got two guys they don't know what to do with. They're just like, let's put them in a tag team, but they don't want to be in a tag team.
There's Sheamus and Cesaro right now, or now they like each other.
I feel like Sheamus and Cesaro is the best example of that working. Like, they're an actual proper tag team, like, years and years later.
Yeah, no, that's worked pretty well.
They went from that shitty best of 7 series to being probably the best tag team.
The best of 7 series where nobody won because they had a draw in the fucking final match.
Yep.
I remember thinking how bad that shit was going to be. Didn't they wrestle like a bunch before that best of 7 series started?
Yep.
Yeah. They also had one of their best of 7 matches at a live show in Europe.
Yeah, fair. That's smart.
So, do you have anything else to say about this show opener before I move on?
No, not really. Just a really good one. Good match.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to Chris Benoit.
We're keeping you awake now.
Just good wrestling puts me to sleep.
Might need to pop a Red Bulldog.
I wish. I'm on the waters.
Oh man, if I was a wrestler, I'd have a energy drink gimmick, and my finisher would be the Red Bulldog. I'm gonna jot that down for if I ever become a wrestler.
That's pretty good, actually.
So after this match, we cut back to the Halloween party, something that we're going to be doing a lot in this episode. And in this segment, Cena is dressed as Vanilla Ice here, and he's rapping Ice Ice Baby to some random old lady. She's, I don't know, probably maybe works in catering. She's just there, apparently. He then starts freestyling, and it's actually not too bad. The camera movement here is pretty nauseating, though. They're, like, flipping it around and shit. Did you notice that? That was, like, the first thing I noticed.
Yeah, I got seasick watching that.
Like, surely they could have just shot it normally.
Yeah, they could have.
I'm gonna say Bruce Pritchard had that idea. It's all his fault.
It couldn't have been because he was at the party.
No, that was Brother Love.
Ah, shit. It's the wrong person.
So while he's rapping, Chuck Palumbo, who's dressed up as one of the village people, I think, he seems to enjoy it. But whoever is dressed up as the Phantom of the Opera seemed to hate it. I think it was Billy Kidman, but I couldn't tell because he never takes the mask off.
I think it was as well, actually. Now that you mention it.
That's good storytelling because he'd just feuded with Billy Kidman, so, he would hate that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jeez, that's deep.
You don't get that kind of storytelling on Raw or SmackDown these days.
You don't. You really don't.
They need more Halloween parties.
I feel like SmackDown is always the one that has the Halloween-themed episode. Why does Raw never have a Halloween-themed episode?
Sure, mate.
I don't even remember the last time they did.
They need to bring them back. There needs to be themed episodes every month, at least. Check out Valentine's Day, fucking St. Patrick's Day.
Queen's birthday.
Boxing Day.
Yeah.
So just play a test match in the ring.
It's actually good. Do you see the Boxing Day NXT tag match?
Is that a thing?
Yeah,
that?
the Undisputed Era versus... Who is it?
Undisputed and Ciampa versus, like, a bunch of babyfaces. Like, 10-man tag.
Gargano, Velveteen...
Aleister Black.
Some other ding-dongs.
Couple others that I can't really think of.
When did this happen?
It's happening on Boxing Day.
They just
Madison Square Garden.
Why have they announced... Oh, okay, so it's Madison Square Garden show. I was going to say, why have they announced this so early?
Yeah.
But that makes sense.
This is going to bust me up. I can't remember who the other two guys are.
It's Riddick Moss and Wesley Blake.
What a combo that would be, huh?
So after that, we see Tori Wilson walk through the party and she runs into Tajiri. Tajiri then accidentally hits on Mae Young, who is dressed as Marilyn Monroe. We then see Dawn Marie show up with Tori Wilson's dad. We then go to commercial, and when we cut back, we get a recap of the first match's finish, and then we go back to the party where Benoit bursts in and he's looking for Kurt Angle. Everybody is scared, and I'm presuming this is because they know Chris Benoit is capable of murder, so no wonder they're scared of him. It's going to be murder-suicides all throughout that building if they don't tell him where Kurt Angle is.
You can't help it. You can't help but mention it.
Oh, fuck him, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, no fair.
He betrayed me, okay? I bought his Hard Knocks DVD and then he did that.
I can't believe he would do that to you.
You fucking piece of shit.
Lightning in a bottle.
So it turns out that Kurt Angle was hiding in plain sight dressed as Scream, so he is safe for now. We then cut to Brock Lesnar, who's walking backstage. Some random dude comes up to him and asks him what he's supposed to be for Halloween. Lesnar takes offense to this, and then he keeps walking into the locker room where he finds Paul Heyman. Heyman talks about Lesnar's Hell in a Cell match with The Undertaker, and he says Lesnar is no longer the same man after it. Heyman tries to talk him out of feuding with The Big Show at this time, and he says Brock can't beat The Big Show in his current state. We then get The Big Show defeating Rikishi via pinfall in 2 minutes and 28 seconds.
Oh my God! Rikishi's going up for a ride! 350 pounds driven to the mat with one hand!
The finish here sees Big Show taking off 2 turnbuckle pads and Irish whipping Rikishi into them. He then hits a running power slam, followed by a choke slam, and gets the victory. What did you guys think of this little squash match here for the Big Show?
I didn't care for it, personally. Big Show was wearing like a shirt and pants, which was kind of weird. I don't think I've ever seen him wrestle and stuff like that.
That's what I have here. I'm like, why is the Big Show wearing smart casual for this match? The dude wears slacks and a shirt. He also has this terrible mustache. Like, what, was he going through a midlife crisis?
Big work gear, Paul White.
I didn't understand any of that. Why did he come out in that? And like, I'll mention it later, but when they show a recap of him beating up the Undertaker the week earlier, he's wearing some real sus wrestling attire then as well.
Yeah, I wrote that down as well. I said, why is he wearing ring gear last week but not this week?
It doesn't make any sense.
I don't even know if he had a match, but he attacked the Undertaker. But he has an actual match and he wears slacks.
I think he didn't have a match because I'm pretty sure like it was a big shock that Big Show was on SmackDown because they keep saying like he got like traded. And I think this was his first match on SmackDown. So yeah, he wouldn't have had a match. He's just in random ring gear.
His business slacks.
Shout out to Slex.
My favourite.
I hope Slex
I just wrote
listens
that
to this
it
podcast.
made. I just said that it made Rikishi look like an absolute goober.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, it did. I wrote here that I don't even think Rikishi gets any offense in this match. Like maybe a little, like one or two things at the start, like a kick. But after that, it's just the whole thing is just to put over Big Show as a monster. It really doesn't do much for Rikishi here.
Yeah, I agree. That's all that. Yeah, I think we'll probably have the same match for this one.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot to say about this match. It literally goes for 2.5 minutes, so there's not a whole lot to talk about. I think the biggest and most important thing that came out of this was me finding out that apparently Big Show got traded to SmackDown. I didn't know that was a thing, so
Yeah, neither did I.
you learn something new every day.
If you're not learning, you're not living, as I say.
After the match, Big Show gets on the mic and tells Lesnar that this match was a taste of what he can expect at Survivor Series. He then invites Lesnar to come to the ring right now. And I just wanted to note here that Big Show sounded so gassed here. Like his match went for 2.5 minutes. And he's sweating bullets and he can barely speak.
Yeah, I had the same thing as well. He sounds terrible. Like, I don't know how out of shape he was at this point, but obviously not in 2018 shape.
I remember last week in our episode about the debut episode of SmackDown, Meltzer was noting that the WWE were putting pressure on him to get in better shape. And fucking 3 years later, he's still like struggling big time. He refuses to get into shape.
And he's getting a main event push.
Big Show has got so many main event pushes in his life. I don't know how. Never been a fan.
Yeah, but I haven't seen SmackDown 1000 yet, boys. But I'm hoping Big Show doesn't turn heel. Hopefully, we don't want to see that again, do we?
Well, you haven't seen SmackDown 1000 yet.
No, I'm kidding. It's the fucking.
We watched it together.
Why does he turn heel?
Yeah, it was SmackDown 1000 was okay. I like the part where Undertaker came out for 30 seconds.
I like when it ended.
You didn't like the cutting edge with Becky Lynch?
That was pretty good. No, it was actually a good show. It was just Bryce and I were just counting down the seconds for Undertaker.
Like we just saw like how much time they had for those final two segments, like the Mysterio match and then Undertaker. We were like, yeah, take it. He doesn't have a lot of time to do his thing.
I downloaded it so I knew exactly how long was left in the episode, and I'm pretty sure when like Shinsuke and Ray finish, there's like 2 minutes left. So I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And he literally comes out there and just basically says, rest in peace, and does this weird growl.
Like a dough.
So we cut backstage to Lesnar, who's leaving his dressing room, but then we go to commercial. When we come back, Show is still in the ring, and they show footage of Big Show throwing Undertaker off the stage. And as we mentioned, Big Show's gear here looks worse than what he's currently wearing. He kind of looks like a Bull Dempsey. You reckon, Pricey?
Oh no, that's bullshit, mate.
He's genuine Bull Dempsey ring attire here, which was interesting to say the least.
He can't pull it off as good as Bull does, to be honest.
I feel like I saw more of Big Show's junk than I really signed up for.
I don't think any of us signed up for that.
So after we get that little recap, Big Show's just still yammering on in the ring. I thought this promo was god-awful. I just was counting down the seconds until it ends. Brock Lesnar finally comes out. They stare each other down and Lesnar takes the microphone. He says he agrees that Big Show is a giant, but then just with the real sick diss, he says, a giant piece of shit.
Whoa!
This is so weirdly edited on the network. Like,
Did you like how he paused so they could like easily like blur that up?
yeah, there's a huge pause and then there's awkward fucking beeping of it. It's not great. Even if they didn't bleep it, that was not a good little thing. I can see why Heyman cuts all his promos. But then we see the Big Show leave the ring, and he says he's been advised not to beat Brock Lesnar's ass until Survivor Series, which is kind of planting the seeds for him to be represented by Heyman in the future. Something that Pricey probably will enjoy here is we get a cut to Tori Wilson stretching backstage.
You would have thought she would have noticed the the camera right behind her as she was stretching, but
She's stretching and turned around. Oh, I didn't expect you to be there.
good camera work, I say.
I think good on Tori Wilson for taking her body seriously and warming up. Even though you're having a trick-or-treat match where there's a fucking pool full of chocolate milk or whatever the fuck that was, and she's still stretching. So kudos to her.
She's a serious competitor.
I can appreciate that. That's why I'm excited for her to be returning at Evolution.
We all can't wait.
Just quietly, Tori Wilson is jacked these days.
Yeah, she's killing it.
Yeah, she is.
She's got pipes. It's like, I was impressed by that. She could probably go better than some of the women on the main roster.
Yeah, she looks like she's in the best shape of her life, potentially. I don't know. I don't really know what she looked like, before WWE, but she's killing it.
So this brings us to Tori Wilson defeating Dawn Marie via pinfall in a trick-or-treat match.
Tori looks like the chick from the Willy Wonka movie. Hey, Tony Chimmel! Look at Chimmel! Well, look at Chimmel's headline. She likes chocolate. Look at this George Clooney hair got all screwed up. Look at him.
So Wilson starts the match off with a food fight and then spears Dawn Marie into the pool. The referee then gets thrown in because the referee always needs to get thrown in a match like this.
Exactly.
It wouldn't be a weird diva gimmick match if the referee didn't end up tangled in it.
Yeah, the best part of a Divas match back then was when they would roll around in the ring, the ref would try and pull him apart, but then they'd start rolling over the top of him. Classic.
Low-key, I still love that spot. It's so dumb, but wrestling's dumb in general, so...
And then the ref will get up and he looks all like happy and shit because he was involved, and then both women slap him.
Whoever the ref was in this match, he was doing the same thing when he was in the pool and then getting tangled up in it. He was looking real happy.
Yeah, you have to. I would too. I can't blame him.
So Tori Wilson then strips Dawn Marie here, and they wrestle around a bit more. Then Dawn Marie kind of trips backwards out of the pool, which allows Tori Wilson to cover her and get the pin. After the match, she then throws Tony Chimmel into the pool for absolutely no reason. What did you think of this match in quotes? Because it's not much of a match. It's more of a roll around in the mud, but I guess it's technically a match.
I have here that the three of us, Tori, Dawn Marie, and myself, we all had something in common after they got out of the chocolate pool. We were all very sticky, But no, yeah, this is just a classic pervert early 2000s match. Taz and Michael Cole on commentary sounded like they were trying to make up for King not being on commentary.
Oh god, Taz and Michael Cole were so horny on commentary. Even before they'd even started the match, Dawn Marie had just come out and they were losing their minds.
Yeah, they were saying... Was she dressed as a cop? I feel like they were saying stuff like...
She was a cop, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Taz was like...
Bad jokes.
Taz was like, she's dressed as a police officer. And he's like, oh, that's my, expertise as a colour commentator. All right, Taz, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it wasn't great. But... Or maybe it was, depending on what you like. I don't know.
What did you think, Nat?
Wrestling-wise, not very good, but I guess For the teenagers, I guess it's pretty good, but this is just shit.
What do you think Wrestling Twitter would think of this match right now? If I clipped it out and posted it on the Wrestle Hunks Twitter account, what do you reckon the majority of Wrestling Twitter would say about this?
She said, "Fucking eat you alive."
I think they'd say, "I wish this was at Evolution."
Yeah,
They're all upset about it. They're all upset about a battle royal. Could you imagine what they'd be like if they got this?
They would probably say, they'll be like, "Oh, at least this match had better build up." Fuck man, don't get me started on those complaints. They're acting like all those championship matches don't exist. The Mae Young final, they've all got build up.
No, they've got a full card as well. Just take it. It's it's happening. It's good.
I reckon it's got better build up than most of the cards that just feature all men.
I reckon it does.
But
what can you do?
personally, I thought this match it's terrible, but it kind of crosses over into the so bad that it kind of becomes good sort of thing here. I thought the big positive here is it's shorter than Big Show's god awful promo, and then the whole punchline of it is Tony Chimmel getting dunked in the water, which is funny as fuck. So it's hard to be too mad at it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, you can't take it serious.
I mean, at this point in my life, I just thought every Halloween in America was, you have a chocolate pool and everyone jumps in it. That's what I thought.
I really want to know
the holiday.
I really want to know what that pool was. Like, what was in it? Even like Cole and Taz were like, we don't know what the fuck's in this.
Probably just water with like a colouring in it, maybe.
Sludge boys.
Yeah.
I also want to know, because Chimmel keeps announcing for the rest of the night, did he get changed or did he just power through in his wet gimmicks?
I have no idea.
Needed a shot of him.
Well, we spoke about last week how he was like usually the brunt of all the jokes, but last week he was the fiery baby face, and now this week we're back to him just falling in the pool and everyone making fun of him. Yeah,
it's the complete polar opposites of his career. Him beating up Howard Finkel and then him getting thrown in the pool by Tori Wilson. By the way, Tony Chimmel goes like flying in this. I appreciate him taking the bump here.
Yeah, he knows.
But after that Dave Meltzer 5-star match, we cut back to the Halloween party again. Tajiri is trying to escape from Mae Young and Fabulous Moolah, and Matt Hardy then comes into the party playing his own theme on a boombox. And I just need to pause here. Nat.
I know what you're going to say. Matt Hardy's birthday.
Oh, Pricey's really out of the loop at the moment.
Just a little bit.
So, you know how me and Nat were just, real weird kids watching real just obscure wrestling videos on YouTube?
Yeah, yep, definitely. I do know that.
As you learned last week when we linked you to the Kane Sings video.
Yeah, that was something special, for sure.
So something similar is, I don't know, we're just dicking around on YouTube. We'd always enjoy watching people, making their wrestling figures fight. And there was this one dude who just like do weird skits with them. And this one was Matt Hardy's birthday. And he starts the birthday party off. He's holding the boombox, and he plays a song on it. And I just realised that was a reference to this today, so it blew my mind.
I felt the exact same way.
I feel like you guys one of you might have shown me this or spoken to me about it before. I don't remember watching it, but it rings a bell.
It's pretty good. It doesn't hold up in 2018 like the Richards trip to America or WWE detention does, but it's still something I look back on fondly, and it's nice to know that it was referencing an actual thing.
I knew we stuff.
So after we get that, we have Matt Hardy saying that the party needs a dose of Mattitude, and he then starts talking down to Tajiri, who he has a match with tonight. Mae Young then starts making out with him because, sure, why not? You got Mae Young there having make out with Tajiri, sure.
I'm so jealous.
It's hot.
I wish I got to kiss Tajiri.
Yeah, the network got a little sticky at this time.
Whoops.
So after this steamy makeout session, we go to commercial and we come back to the party again where we've got Nydia apple bobbing, and Nydia and Jamie Noble dressed as each other.
I think so. But
I'm pretty sure.
what did Jamie Noble sound like, Nat, when she was bobbing for apples?
Come on, baby. Yo, kiss her. Kiss her, baby. Come on. Oh, you're looking good, Stephanie.
So that's actually a pretty accurate summary of what happens here.
Put your tongue down our throat, baby.
So after that, Eddie and Chavo walk up to Stephanie, and Eddie kind of hits on her, and then he remembers that Stephanie is his boss. They say that they want a shot at the tag titles once he beats Kurt Angle tonight. Cena then shows up again and does another rap in front of Stephanie, and she's really confused. And Cena tells her that he's trying to explain that Vince is waiting in her office. That takes us to our next match, which is Matt Hardy defeating Tajiri via pinfall in 7 minutes and 38 seconds.
Tajiri. There it is. Wow. The tarantula's locked in. Not a legal maneuver, but Tajiri can do damage. Doesn't take long for that thing to hurt you.
Here we have, for the finish, Tajiri missing the buzzsaw kick, and Matt Hardy attempts a twist of fate. Tajiri attempts to reverse this into a backslide, but Hardy low blows him, which the referee can't see, and he then hits his finisher for the win. What did you guys think of this cruiserweight match here?
I didn't really care for this one either. I don't know. I just wasn't really into it. I was into the Matt facts, but after that, they sort of lost me after that.
Speaking of the Matt facts, I wrote them down here. I don't know. They weren't that good. I don't think. They were Matt always got more Halloween candy than his brother, and Matt has seen all of the Friday the 13th movies.
They're not the best ones they ever did, but
I feel like they were struggling
so
with the second one there. That's like, oh, Matt has watched movies. Oh, come on, you can be better than that. So now, what did you think of this match?
It didn't really take off anywhere. I think it just went too long, if I'm honest. It only went
Really?
7 minutes, but
it felt long.
yeah.
Well, I'll just disagree with you boys. I actually thought this match was pretty solid. I thought it was a solid pace. Both men getting some decent spots. It was a nice little cruiserweight match.
Yeah, you're just a Matt Hardy mark.
Okay, Mark.
I do enjoy a bit of Mattitude, you know.
Now I figured it out. Shannon Moore. Shannon Moore.
You know?
Bloody hell.
Follower of Mattitude.
Get out of here.
Random thought that I had here while watching this match, because I saw Matt Hardy's shirt that he always wears in the ring to cover up his sloppy rig, and then I saw on the back that he had writing, and I couldn't really make out what it was, but I had the thought they should have made Matt Hardy shirts with like the writing on the back was a different like Matt fact, and you could make like 6 of them or whatever, so it's like it's a random one when you buy it. I feel like that would have really taken off.
I'd be into that. People might buy a bunch of them just hoping they get all different ones.
Yeah, they want to collect the set.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like, oh, I wanted to get the Matt often wonders how they did WrestleMania without him shirt. And you could make like a really rare one, like that would sell really expensive online.
I was trying to think of more funny Matt facts, but I forgot to search them up. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able
He
to.
likes mustard.
Oh, that's a good one.
No, doesn't he strongly dislike mustard?
It's just
Oh, fucking whatever.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about this match. It's kind of short and not really of much consequence. I was just disappointed that Tajiri doesn't wrestle in his costume that he had on earlier in the night. He's dressed up as fucking Disco Inferno, so that would have been a lot cooler.
I found one that says Matt Tan's wearing only a sock.
He's sock hogging it.
Yeah. That's not a bad one. Matt rarely uses turn signals. I don't mind that one. Matt likes pulp in his orange juice as well. So there you go. A couple of good ones.
The best Matt Hardy fact is that Shannon Moore was a follower of Mattitude.
You're a mark.
Shannon Moore was over, man. You know how many times he's featured in this like show backstage? He's over.
Can't believe I was a Goldberg mark, but at least he was a world champion, man.
Hey, Shannon Moore deserved to be tag champs. He was robbed in that 15 minutes of fame match. Back me up here, Nat.
He was. They should have won was just fucking bullshit match type. If it was just normal tag match, they would have won.
Jimmy Wang Yang hit his moonsault, was going for the cover, and time expired. That was bullshit.
You're gonna be saying that till you go to the grave, aren't you?
I've just had some important news come across my computer here.
Ooh.
Doing some little Shannon Moore research. He was in Jeff Hardy's band.
What's the band called?
Jeff Hardy's band called Perox Ygen. Shannon Moore was in the band. I think this might have been before shit came off. Took off. I'm not sure. It says here though, Shannon Moore left the band to focus on his wrestling career.
Jeez.
It was started by him and Jeff Hardy.
Wow.
I want to know what he played now.
Wait,
Cello.
Did they actually take off? Or like the band?
No, not really. Jeff Hardy would create all his own entrance music in TNA, but besides that, yeah, Jeff Hardy's shit never really went anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at it here. It says that Shannon Moore was lead vocals.
Wow.
Him and Jeff would share lead vocals, so that's...
Now it's just Jeff on his own.
Oh, I don't know if he can carry the band by himself.
You probably would have bought all the albums if Shannon Moore was still in there.
Hey, if Shannon Moore released an album, I would buy that day one. I can't believe he didn't win a title in the WWE. He won the WCW.
There's a reason for that.
He won the WCW Hardcore Championship, but didn't win anything in the WWE and didn't win anything in TNA.
Inc. should have won the tag titles.
Footnote here: the WCW Hardcore Championship was held jointly with Evan Karagias and Shane Helms.
Courageous.
Is that how they pronounce it? Well, it's fucking dumb. Evan, you're a piece of shit. As a member of 3 count using the free bird rule. That's some bullshit. Shannon Moore never got the respect he deserved.
I'm stunned.
So that does it for the Shannon Moore podcast.
Yeah, we talk about Shannon Moore way too much.
You know what? Shannon Moore deserves to be talked about that much.
Well, I'm sure we'll cover his career one day.
But moving on from Shannon Moore, after the match, we cut to Stephanie McMahon backstage. We then see the Vince in her office is someone in a Vince mask. The person then says Scott Steiner is joining Raw, and Stephanie's confused because why would this person know anything about where Scott Steiner is going? But then this person unmasks, and it turns out to be Eric Bischoff, who then sexually assaults Stephanie. But then she starts to kind of enjoy it and makes out with him, so it's all right in the end, and then they kind of just part ways. What the fuck is this shit?
Do you know Vince was in the room for this?
I'm sure he was, man, cranking his little hog to his daughter.
You gotta kiss her.
Do you reckon he showed her how to do it properly?
I wish.
I guess
Steph was
fucked up.
Steph was having problems with trying to get some convincing looking kissing, kind of like how Kelly could dance. Yeah, so just Vince got in there and just made out with Eric Bischoff. Honestly, that would pop ratings if Eric Bischoff, around the time WCW was bought by the WWE, just made out with Vince in the ring. I reckon that'd be front page news.
That would be something.
So after the sexual assault, weird fucking backstage gimmick, we get Eddie Guerrero defeating Kurt Angle via pinfall in 13 minutes and 20 seconds, and Meltzer has rated this match. He gave it a 3.5-star rating.
Wait a minute! It's Chavo Guerrero! Chavo Guerrero knocked off the apron! Chris Benoit with the championship gold! And how that Benoit comes from? Here's a frog splash by Guerrero! Eddie Guerrero steals one thanks to Chris Benoit, Angle's partner!
A SmackDown match getting SmackDown show getting 2 matches rated is a pretty rare thing, so it's kind of a testament to the SmackDown quality at this time. The finish of this match sees Eddie locking in the lasso from El Paso, Angle reverses it into the ankle lock, but Eddie grabs the ropes. Eddie then low blows Angle, allowing him to hit a suplex and then go for the frog splash. But Angle shoves the ref into the ropes, which causes Eddie to fall on his nuts, and it stops him for the time being. Chavo then runs in, but Angle fights him off. He goes to suplex Eddie off the top rope, but then Benoit appears out of nowhere and hits him with the tag team title belt. Eddie then hits the frog splash and wins, and after the match, Benoit hits Eddie and Chavo with some really shitty belt shots. What did you boys think of the second match of the night that Meltzer thought was worthy of being rated?
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of notes. I sort of just watched the match. I didn't really want to write anything. I just wanted to watch it and enjoy it. You've got there that these two are very good together. Yeah, so I just wanted to enjoy the match. And yeah, I got Eddie's music kind of shitty, not like his.
Yeah, I had that as well. That's like his debut music from like January
Really?
2000 or whatever, when they like first jumped ship. So like he's had that for ages, and it's not good.
Yeah, because I was expecting that Latino, not the Light Cheat and Steel sort of song, but yeah, I had no complaints. I thought it was a really good match, and then Benoit, I don't know if you could say he hit Chavo with the title belt. He sort of put it near his face, and then let Chavo just take a bump, I think.
Both of them were not good. Like he was really not putting much effort into those belt shots.
No, not really.
Yeah.
What did you think about the match, Nat?
I thought it was a very good match again. I probably would have given more than 3.5, maybe 4. It's a bit of a precursor to the 2004 feud they have. Just another match that shouldn't be on SmackDown. It should be a pay-per-view. Just that's how good the SmackDown 6 are.
Yeah, the SmackDown 6 really just killing it this time. Like putting on pay-per-view quality matches basically every week. And yeah, as you said, Pricey, so much chemistry between Eddie and Kurt. I'm pretty sure it's impossible for them to have a bad match together. And I actually thought this match was a lot better than the Edge vs. Benoit match, which was still a pretty solid match, but Meltzer thought that was the better one of these. But yeah, I think Eddie and Kurt was definitely better, and Dave Meltzer doesn't know what he's talking about.
Not really a journalist, is he?
He's a piece of shit, is what he is. It keeps fucking shitting on Peyton Royce.
Fuck that guy, man.
She's the Rolls Royce of the WWE.
My one of my favorite matches was Mania 20 when Eddie beats Kurt for the WWE title. So yeah, just another chance to see these guys wrestle. I obviously didn't know this match happened because I hadn't seen this episode of SmackDown, but it was a really good match. I really enjoyed it.
I think it's important to point out here that Eddie has a fucking ponytail here.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that? I don't remember Eddie ever having a ponytail. I remember Eddie having a mullet, but not a ponytail.
I feel like his mullet was just getting that long. We just sort of just roll with it, just tie it up.
I mean, it looks better than the mullet that he had in WCW, I reckon, but still not great. He's when he starts getting that main event push, that haircut, definitely a lot better than what he'd been doing previously.
Yeah, just that little short haircut. That's all we wanted, Eddie. You don't need a mullet to get over.
I think it's also interesting to notice here that this was the second match of the night that went 10 plus minutes, which is a stark contrast to last week when we reviewed the debut episode of SmackDown, which had one match go over 10 minutes, and it barely went over 10 minutes. Like, it limped over the line.
Yeah.
I mean, it shows you what you do, what can happen if you put 4 good workers in two different matches and just let them do their thing, I think.
It also shows what you get when you don't have Vince Russo booking the show. You can actually have some wrestling take place.
Yeah. Some
Not
people
that
enjoy wrestling.
Not that Road Dogg and Chris Jericho and fucking Mankind versus Shane McMahon weren't, top-notch matches.
Technically, that Mankind Shane McMahon match is still going, so that's gone over 10 minutes for sure.
Exactly right.
It's gone for currently almost 20 years.
Yeah, longest wrestling match ever.
Maybe on the anniversary, they'll come back and they'll finish it.
I just want to see, they'll be in the middle of the ring and then Shane will just roll him up.
And then, Michael Cole will, for some reason, remember that was a thing. I think it's definitely got potential to be a top notch moment on SmackDown or Raw whenever they do it.
I'm going to write it down in my notes right now.
So after this match, we cut back to the party for like the millionth time, where Kurt Angle has now appeared and he tells everyone to shut up. He then throws Shannon Moore and tells everyone to stay there until he finds Benoit. Again, Shannon Moore deserves more respect. Angle then sees someone in the Scream costume and assumes it's Benoit because he pulled the same stunt earlier, but it turns out it's Brother Fucking Love.
Love.
They really just enjoyed making Brother Love return whenever they could on SmackDown in this era. Because he shows up in the APA Invitational Barroom Brawl thing that happens in Judgment Day 2003, which was on our poll. So like, they just throw him everywhere.
Doesn't he like almost win that?
I don't know. I've never seen it, but I actually listened to that the podcast he did about that like yesterday. And he really puts himself over in there. He says he eliminated the most people, I think. He eliminates the Conquistador, I think, who's played by Rob Conway there.
Jesus.
Oh, man.
Cool. Sean O'Hare is in that, by the way.
The GOAT.
Great.
I'm pretty sure Brother Love eliminates Sean O'Hare in that.
Good.
Fuck you. Sean O'Hare was good, man.
Is Sean O'Hare at the Halloween party?
No. Ooh. He might be. There's a lot of people like in the background that like I really can't make out. I'd say he probably would be.
I thought if he was, then it might have been the fifth guy that we're trying to think of.
Maybe. Oh. I remember I think the fifth. Did we mention Fabulous Moolah's dead?
Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah,
I thought we didn't
Moolah,
mention her.
yeah.
I thought I'd cracked the code. Fuck. I'm sure there's a fifth dead person. I'm sure.
We'll figure it out.
So, after he sees Brother Love, Benoit attacks Angle from behind and they brawl all throughout the room. This then ends with Benoit smashing a bottle on Angle's head while simultaneously getting Angle slammed, and they're both laid out unconscious, so it kind of ends their fighting for now. This leads us to the main event, which is Rey Mysterio and Brock Lesnar going one-on-one, which it ends in a no contest or a DQ. Which take your pick here in 4 minutes. So this match sees Rey run under the ring at one stage, which is kind of shades of an upcoming feud he'll have with the Big Show at Backlash 2003, which we reviewed a few weeks ago. Rey then attempts a 619 when they're back in the ring, but is caught by the Big Show, who gorilla presses him into the crowd. Then Big Show turns his attention to Lesnar, who he chokeslams through the announce table. What did you guys think of this match? It's not a very long match, but a lot of interesting stuff happens here.
Yeah, it's sort of hard to get into because it's such a short match. I just have here that Mysterio's a little bit of a quick fella, isn't he?
Quicker than a hiccup.
Good boy.
Yes, absolutely. And just the spot where he throws him into the crowd is pretty cool. I don't recall seeing that very often.
That was insane. Like, I was not expecting that to happen, and I'm curious to know whether, like, were those legitimate fans sitting there, or were they, like, people planted by the WWE to specifically catch him? I need to know, like, do they just throw Rey at people?
I don't know. Like, you would imagine that, like, nowadays there's a lot of kids at the shows, so you probably can't throw, like, a
fucking crush a 6-year-old.
You probably can't get away with that nowadays, but maybe they did it. I don't know.
Shout out to all those people, if it was just random fans, for catching Rey. They're better at catching a dive than The Miz. But yeah, Nat, what were your thoughts on this little segment here? It's not really a match, I guess. It's more of a segment.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty much a 4-minute squash match, but it's what it should be because you're champion versus Rey Mysterio, and Lesnar's supposed to be the monster. I mean, it is what it is, but at least it progresses some story between Big Show and Lesnar, and And the grill press is pretty good too.
I'm pretty happy that Ray didn't get pinned in this match. So
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
he didn't technically lose. So I guess that's a good sign. Rikishi got squashed, but Ray didn't lose. So that's cool.
Yeah, I think this is kind of the right way to do a squash match like this. Ray is probably, especially at this point in his career, he's not going to beat Brock Lesnar, but they still put him in there, and he gets a fair bit of offense in. Lesnar kind of mostly brushes it off, but still he takes him down and stuff, and he almost hits the 619 on him. So Ray's still looking good there, and then Brock Lesnar still gets to throw him around a bit, and then Big Show comes in for the memorable spot. So I don't know. There's not much you could really complain about there. Kind of gets both guys over. Ray looks pretty legitimate taking Brock Lesnar down. I don't think they were just giving that to anyone at this point of his run. So I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
Did you guys mention that it looked like Big Show almost botched the chokeslam to the table?
Yeah, I'm not. What did he do with that? I was like, maybe because Brock Lesnar's a heavier dude, he did that. I was like, what? It was a weird chokeslam.
He sort of had to catch him as he brought him up, and it didn't look like a chokeslam. It just looked like a slam.
There was a lot not right about the Big Show in this episode. His business slacks, his weird chokeslams, just his mustache.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
He was going through a lot. I just think Ray took a lot of really crazy bumps in this era on SmackDown. You've got him being thrown into the ring post by the Big Show while he's on the board, getting thrown into the crowd. Ray was just up for anything.
Yeah, that's true. They had
He'd even jump out of the bloody sky.
Yeah.
Hey, who's that jumping out the sky?
Bring that back.
That's actually a bit of a banger.
I was so disappointed that he didn't do that. SmackDown 1000.
Really?
Yep.
I was more disappointed that they didn't have the fist. What was the point of Charlotte and Becky destroying the set last week if they didn't bring back the fist?
What was the point of fucking SmackDown 1000?
Celebrate SmackDown, all the memorable moments.
Talk about Ric Flair's dick. That was my favourite part.
Fuck, that Evolution segment went a long time.
Yeah.
It was Batista's fault.
Oh, classic Blue Tista.
No, I call him Brutista, but he doesn't care.
I just call him, Big Dave from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Draxy baby.
But yeah, that segment ends the show for us. We, cut to black with Big Show standing tall after his chokeslam to Lesnar through the announce table. So that does us for this episode of SmackDown. What did we all think was the best segment or match of the night here?
Best match is a toss-up between the two matches we've spoken about. I'd probably go Eddie and Kurt. I probably enjoyed that slightly more, but they were both very good.
What about you, Nat?
For match, I've got to say Edge Benoit, only just, and the segment I've got to say the Kurt Angle Benoit thing at the end.
With the old the bottle to the head.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, and then they went back in slow-mo because I didn't actually notice what the fuck happened.
Yeah, how did
cool.
Taz not notice? That was the first thing I noticed was that Benoit picked up a bottle. It was right in front of the camera.
Well, I didn't.
Didn't you notice that?
No, I didn't until the replay. I was like, why is Kurt down?
Oh, you were just like Taz. That's why Taz was doing it. Helping the fans out. I think it's a toss-up for me for my favourite segment or match here. I think Eddie and Kurt probably had the match I enjoyed the most here. But I did enjoy the main event match a lot, to be honest. And you know what? As shitty as it was, the Tori Wilson defeating Dawn Marie fucking trick-or-treat Jello pudding fucking pool match wasn't half bad. It ends with Chimmel getting thrown in the pool, so it really bumps it up a bit. And it's no Sean O'Hare match, but it's still pretty good.
I'm just going back through these segments in between the matches, trying to find the fifth person. I got no idea. Crash Holly, maybe.
Crash might be backstage, but you've actually have told me. The fifth person I had here was Crash, because when you go on Pro Fight database, which I use to like get the cards for each of the shows that we have, it randomly had a Billy Kidman and Funaki versus Crash Holly and someone else tag match on the card. It never takes place. It's just in the middle of it.
Ah, so Crash Holly.
Yeah, before the show, I had put down Benoit, Eddie, and Crash Holly. I'm like, yeah, they're dead. And then I added in Moolah and old mate, Mae Young. And then, yeah, that's fucked me over.
Okay.
Pro Fight database, fucking dead to me.
I've solved it. There we go.
How did you... Is Crash Holly in the background?
I think I spotted him at the start of the...
Still counts.
Yeah, yeah, I'll throw him in there. He's part of it.
So, what did we think was the worst match or segment of the night?
Definitely not the Trick or Treat match. That was good.
I'm going to say the Rikishi match.
Yeah, the Big Show's like the worst match is the Big Show Rikishi match, and then the segment is like Big Show just fucking rambling on.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I hated the match, and then him cutting a promo for what felt like 30 minutes. Fucking wanted me to just... I wanted to go to sleep. I was waiting for Lesnar to come out and fuck him up, and then they don't even touch. They just, stand toe-to-toe. What did you think, Nat? Surely you agree.
Yeah, it was fucking dog shit, and we had to look at his fucking attire the whole time.
The only way it could be worse is if the Big Show busted out his vape and started vaping.
He should have been wearing, like, Timberlands or something.
I mean, he could have worn anything other than what he was wearing there, and it would have been better. He could have come in trackies, kind of Nathan Jones style, and it would have been a lot better.
Yeah, the Adidas's.
If Big Show in a pair of tracky dacks, he'd be...
The old three stripes.
Great. Yeah, that's it.
So we're basically unanimously agreeing that was the drizzling shits and the Big Show sucks. But what's our overall thoughts on this episode of SmackDown where Cena's career, he doesn't know it yet, but his career is about to take off in a big way?
I thought, for the most part, it was a pretty good show. All the backstage segments with the Halloween party, I kind of enjoyed it. I thought it was cool just to have that running little thing in throughout the show. But apart from like the Big Show in the middle part, like even in the Big Show at the end with Brock was good, but that middle part with the Rikishi match and his promo was like the only sort of low light, I think, of the show.
What about you, Nat?
Have to agree. I wish this was fucking Raw current day. The wrestling was really good. I mean, even the wrestling that wasn't. I didn't want to kill myself.
Chris Benoit.
I mean, it's a pretty good episode of SmackDown.
I think like seeing that, like there's obviously really talented wrestlers now on Raw and SmackDown, so like it's not impossible for them to have a weekly show like this. Like we know the talent's there, but they just never seem to put it on.
Yeah, their roster's stacked at the moment, so there's no reason why they couldn't put on a show like this. Like if they took away, even if having the Big Show's squash match, if you take away his promo, insert some other thing, whether it's a match or it's a promo from someone else, you've got like basically a flawless card from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Like there's not a lot. Even like the Trick or Treat match, like it's short and there's some funny spots there. Like you can't really complain about too much other than Big Show cutting a promo for 6 hours. I thought it was also interesting to note here that there were 7 people on this card that had either already been world champion or would become world champion in the future. And that's not including like, guys backstage. Did you say incorrect?
There's 8.
8. Where's the 8th? Are you counting Cena?
Cena, Lesnar, Angle, Benoit, Eddie, Edge, Big Show, Rey Mysterio. And are we counting Matt Hardy from TNA and Ring of Honor?
Fuck no.
Oh, still, that's what...
You're correct, but I was saying 7 world champions who wrestled on this show. I didn't count.
Bloody wrestle.
So I'm talking about the in-ring quality. Like, you've got 7 people who were world champions. Like, that's absurd to have that on your card.
They're pretty stacked.
No, if you had it your way, Shannon Moore would have been a world champion.
I'm not saying world champion. I'm just saying, how did he not end up with the cruiserweight belt at least once? Hornswoggle won it. How did he not end up with the cruiserweight belt in WCW? Like, women were winning it. Like, Medusa wins it. Like, come on. Surely
he just wasn't good enough.
I think he was. I think backstage politics is what got him.
They didn't like his band.
Hey, his band was good. I don't think his band had actually started yet. Maybe that's why. It's also weird to think about that John Cena's random like throwaway rapper segment here, that is essentially the creation of one of the WWE's biggest superstars of all time, like top 5 money draw in WWE history. Like, how weird is that to think? Like, a fucking random Halloween segment created one of the biggest stars.
Well, I mean, Adam Rose's gimmick created Braun Strowman.
I don't think that created Braun Strowman.
I think it did.
Well, you know what? CM Punk riding to the ring on the car in WrestleMania 22 John Cena entrance is really what created him.
Exactly. Now you get it.
That was the original pipe bomb.
Also, was it Mr. Kennedy that was congratulating Brock Lesnar on one of the things in Nathan Jones's run? I think that really created Mr. Kennedy.
Yeah, definitely. He wanted to see the champ up close, and then that's what I want to be when I grow up.
Oh, as they say, pro wrestling is real, people are fake. Quote Mr. Anderson.
Hey, I live by that quote, man.
So the aftermath of this show, in the wake of the Halloween episode, Cena would kind of float around in the mid-card for a bit. He'd be getting his proper debut of the rapper gimmick next week on SmackDown, and would sort of just, beat guys sporadically on SmackDown. He eventually gets paired with Bull Buchanan, who would act as Cena's enforcer, which I'm sure that just went over like the drizzling shits.
You mean B squared?
B square.
Fucking B squared. I can't believe they really tried to make Bull Buchanan happen. They gave it a real push, and the fans were saying no, thank you.
I can't believe it didn't work.
He's really the kind of the John Cena version of Jesus. Just a big horse.
That's a fair assessment.
With a smaller guy who's more talented that nobody gave a shit about. Shout out to Jesus. I wonder where he is these days.
I can't believe.
In a nightclub.
Jesus had some real shitty gear, to be honest.
Yeah.
He did, wearing the suspenders over the fucking wife beater.
Fucking trash. Hated that.
He's been wrestling in All Japan and Wrestle 1. I think he's retired now.
Oh, good for him.
Can't believe he stabbed John Cena.
How did he not go to jail?
Yeah, I know. They really should have called the police. Well, by the way, he had an extensive WWE career, if you didn't know. He first appeared in the WWF with Christopher Daniels as Uno, one half of Los Conquistadores.
Wow.
And then he was rehired 4 years later to be Jesus. And then he later returned to WWE as a one-time deal, wrestling Ron Simmons on WWE Heat under his real name at the tapings for the November 5, 2007 episode of Raw. Fucking Vince just couldn't get enough of Jesus.
Jeez, push him. Just pushed him to the main event, basically.
Push him to the moon.
Yeah.
So despite this transition to the rapper gimmick and, kind of actually drawing a reaction from the crowd now, he wouldn't receive a significant singles push until the time of Backlash 2003, where he won a tournament to face Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. And in fact, Backlash 2003 was actually only his second singles match on pay-per-view, and it was his third pay-per-view match total. He did appear at Royal Rumble 2003, but that's pretty crazy to think that his second singles match on pay-per-view was for the world title. Do either of you know what his first pay-per-view match was?
Chris Jericho 2002 Vengeance.
I'm not sure if it's Vengeance, but you're spot on with that.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be that tag match with Spanky.
Shout out to Spanky. Spanky was all over SmackDown in this era.
I wonder what happened to him.
That's one of the two reasons I'm really upset that my pick didn't win, is Spanky and Tajiri and Eddie Guerrero teaming up.
To be honest, Judgment Day 2003 did look like a fun train wreck to go through, but the fans just went on your side.
Fuck, they never are. I don't know what I've done wrong.
Hey, you were dominating the polls early on, so, it's just swings and roundabouts,
Yeah. Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, as they say.
Excuse you?
Anyway, move on.
So, the next pay-per-view the WWE would hold would be Survivor Series on November 17th of that year. This would feature Bubba Ray Dudley, Jeff Hardy, and Spike Dudley defeating Jamal, Rico, and Rosie in an elimination tables match. Billy Kidman defeating Jamie Noble to win the Cruiserweight Championship. Victoria defeating Trish Stratus in a hardcore match to win the Women's Championship. The Big Show defeating Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. And Los Guerreros defeating Benoit and Angle and Edge and Rey Mysterio for the tag titles. And then Shawn Michaels winning the Elimination Chamber match to win the Heavyweight Championship. Now, I've just noticed here, every fucking title changed hands here.
Wait, what?
At Survivor Series. There's one,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4,
Well.
5 championship changes. And literally, the way the card is built here, they have the random 6-man table match at the start, and then the next 5 matches are all championship matches, and they all change hands. That's absurd. Also, Big Show, Brock Lesnar only goes 4 minutes and 19 seconds, which seems crazy.
I mean,
Expect.
they suck.
I'm just saying, that is ridiculous. I would not expect Vince to ever have 5 championships all change in a row.
I mean, at least that's what they should be doing on pay-per-view. That's what we pay for.
I mean, personally, I pay to see Shannon Moore win the Cruiserweight title, not Billy Kidman, so...
Well, you'd be paying for fucking forever.
Fuck you, man. Shannon Moore was just never treated properly. He never had a promoter that knew how to book him properly.
I feel like you're going to start your own promotion just so you can have him as the top guy.
Top guy, I'll hand the belt to him like Bischoff handed the belt to Triple H.
Yeah. He's going to be the top heel.
So I guess that basically does us for the debut of John Cena's rapper gimmick here. Thanks for listening to the Wrestle Hunks Podcast. You can find the show on Twitter at Wrestle Hunks Pod. I'm on Twitter as @Source Marlow. Pricey is on Twitter as @Evil Brody Price. And you better not tweet about the build-up to Evolution anymore, or he's going to fucking blow a fuse here.
I'm fuming. Just let's sit back and enjoy the show when it happens, shall we?
We also have Nat on Twitter as @NathMarlow. You can also find the show on Instagram at Wrestle Hunks Pod as well. If you want to listen to the show, and you're already listening to the show, so you probably know where to find it. But in case you didn't, we're on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, basically any service that supports podcasts. Also, feel free to rate us on iTunes and your podcast service of choice. This brings us to the part of the episode where we usually would each suggest a thing to cover for next week's episode, but we'd been planning for a while to do a poll with just 4 different wrestlers and cover one of their careers, but then the fans just demanded that we do Nathan Jones' career, so I put it on the back burner for a little bit. But it's finally we've come to the poll where every choice is a different superstar's career, and the different options are Sean O'Hare, Simon Dean, Mordecai / Kevin Thorne, and Test, which I think you boys will agree, they're all 4 just solid options there.
I hope we're going to figure out a way to, like, if we choose Test.
That's going to take forever.
Yeah, that's a long career, so we're going to have to find a way to shorten that.
I've been thinking about it. I've basically gone through all 4 men and kind of jotted down like their important matches of their career, and Test is really long, but I feel like I can cut a few of like the matches out, like stuff where he's like wrestling pay-per-view matches that really aren't important at all. Sean O'Hare's is actually sneakily long as well because he has his WCW shit as well.
I'm hoping for Kevin Thorne.
Kevin Thorne, on the other hand, that's fucking quick. Mordecai literally wrestles 3 times.
Yeah, I can't wait. 3 very good matches.
Hey, Mordecai, he has more pay-per-view matches than he does on SmackDown. Wrestles these 2 pay-per-view matches and then 1 SmackDown match, and it fucking disappears forever.
Yeah, it's because people need to pay to see that man. He's that good.
I think Simon Dean would be a quality one though.
Come on. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in there that I didn't realize that happened. A tag team that I didn't realize that happened, and also I didn't realize that he wrestled as a Nova for a bit in the WWE as well. So
yeah, I was gonna say, do you count his stuff with the BWO? Or?
Yeah, I've included that as well. I was thinking like, oh, maybe I'll include his ECW stuff, and no, that ECW stuff goes for fucking a lifetime. So I decided just the WWE.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, do you know about Simon Dean's attempt at the tag titles?
Pardon?
Simon Dean. Do either of you know about Simon Dean's attempt at winning the tag titles?
What? By
No.
himself?
No, not by himself. He has a tag partner.
I hope it's Rico.
It's not Rico. It's better. It's Maven.
Jesus.
Okay.
That's the thing. They have multiple shots at the tag titles.
Well, can't wait to see it.
On
They
Sunday
get the
Night
win.
Heat, or
What was that, Pricey?
on Sunday Night Heat, or where do they have the shots?
One of them was on Sunday Night Heat. One was at Backlash. This was when William Regal and Tajiri were champs.
Fuck, I don't remember that at all.
It's quality. It's actually, he also has a cruiserweight title match on Velocity against your favorite, Pricey, Move and Groove Guerrero.
Oh, my boy. Respect.
I really think we should, even though I'm a Sean O'Hare mark, I'm starting to think I might have to vote for Simon Dean.
Yeah, I'm not sure who we're going to vote for now.
It's a tough one. I deliberately I'm going to put Test as the 4th option because I feel like people are drawn to vote for like the top options. I feel like Test has already got it stacked. He's the most well-known name there, so he's got an unfair advantage against the other boys. So
You reckon people are too lazy to read all the options?
I reckon they just say option 1 Test, and they're like, oh, all right, pick Test.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So put Simon Dean up there, Sean O'Hare. They might get distracted by that. They'll see Mordecai and they'll be like, oh yeah, I want to learn more about Mordecai.
Good idea.
I'm also worried, like Pricey said, there's too much Test. He didn't die soon enough, arguably. It's his first half of his career that goes forever. His return in ECW is actually pretty short. But I didn't realize how many fucking feuds he was in his initial run.
Yeah, he's one of the best of all time.
So either of you boys got anything to say before we go here?
Yeah, I feel like this is my point in the show where I just point out a couple matches everyone should go back and watch. This week, get into 205 Live, please. The Fatal 5-Way main event, really good. And Undisputed Era War Raiders, really good. Nat can approve of that one.
205 Live is the best thing going.
You know what? I'm going to be even more hipster than you, Pricey. And I'm going to say, everybody go watch the WWE UK first episode.
Wow, Pete Dunne versus Noam Dar.
Yeah, Pete Dunne and Noam Dar. I haven't seen the match. I haven't watched any of it. It just popped up on my network before. I'm saying go watch it because it has Noam Dar and he's funny on Twitter.
I was planning on watching that match. I still haven't got around to it, but I'm sure it's good.
Apparently it's pretty good from what I've heard from people just saying fucking things on Twitter.
Yeah, Peter Dunne, he's a good wrestler.
So I guess that does it for this week. Everybody stay hunky.